G'day everyone. That was a lot of tech issues. Apparently
Hello.
here on apparently here on twitch.tv, our channel is hated, the EveryWei channel. So we're doing it over here instead. But welcome everybody to the EveryWei podcast. I am Everyday. With me as always is Yulwei, and here to help us talk about the finals that are of course coming up tomorrow is Vinnie. How are we tonight, guys?
Yeah, bud.
Oh.
Not
bad. This took a long time. Yeah. Well, we're finally here.
Yeah,
Let's
that was
go.
a pain in the ass. I'm not happy. Twitch really hates us, apparently. So, but let's not beat around the bush then. Obviously, we've had our semi-final. We do know our two finalists, which is, of course, 𝘀𝗀 and 𝘀cie. Expected, honestly. There was potential for change, for sure. But in the end, we did get the final that was promised. So, I mean, how do you guys feel about the final? Are you excited? Would you have rathered someone else be there? What are you thinking?
Go ahead.
No, it's about it's basically what I expected. Maybe we could have seen coming in. We might have thought secret, maybe, but I don't think it was realistic to expect 𝘀𝗀 not to be there.
Yeah.
And, I think it wouldn't really matter who the other person is. I think 𝘀cie is probably the best chance for an exciting series.
Yep, I agree. I think 𝘀cie was the only team to take a series off 𝘀𝗀 in the regular season, right? So I think this is the final we all deserved. EVOS looked quite strong in the early game. Would have actually liked to see if EVOS would have been able to play good early games against 𝘀𝗀 as well. But yeah, in the end, I think this is the highest quality of final we can get in terms of teams.
Yep, I'd agree. I mean, 𝘀cie is the only ones that have taken a series, of course. So it makes sense that they're the ones to face off against 𝘀𝗀 in the final. And I will apologize at the top of the show. I'm very sick. So don't expect peak every day. It's very much just some days. Not great. But obviously it happens. Cold. Winter. But moving in, let's have a quick talk about the semi-final. Obviously, we don't want to dwell on that for too long. Because the final is the main thing we want to chat about. But how did you guys find the semi-final? EVOS, I think they put up a decent fight. But I think 𝘀cie was pretty handily the better team.
Yeah. For me, what was very interesting about the semi-final was the two different looks both teams showed us. When the first two games were definitely EVOS favored, and they dominated the early games, threw away in one game, but should have been 2-0 up. And then 𝘀cie completely changed their style, found a very different approach to then stomp EVOS 2 games in a row. Honestly, there was one 25-minute game and one 27-minute game. They just ran away with the early games, 5k gold lead at 12 minutes. So I just found the 𝘀cie change in the series very interesting to see, because that's what good teams can do. Just kick it up to another gear and be way stronger than before.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Vinny?
Yeah, the change, and I think a lot of it is the change in draft, taking away a 𝘀𝑎𝑙𝑖os in the second half, and putting 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 on a much more supportive sort of role. Definitely sort of lent into pushing 𝘀cie ahead, because it wasn't really working before, giving EVOS such strong drafts, really, and especially for good early game drafts on the side of EVOS, which is their strongest point.
Yep.
Able to sort of neuter that and match it, really, 𝘀𝗀 just sort of ran away with it after that.
Yeah, I agree. So
Bot lane was a big change as well, right? So we have MF Nautilus 2 games, and they didn't look great. They lost lane. They were kind of lost the mid game as well, and then they changed over to 𝘁𝗁𝗃, and it looked like a completely different team with 𝘁𝗁𝗃 in the bot lane.
Yeah.
CBL was smurfing all the time on Thresh. Great hooks on the enemy ADC. 𝘁𝗀 honestly underperformed a little bit in the last 2 games, in my opinion. He had to flash a few more of the hooks, but yeah, CBL played a great game, and then 𝘁𝗁𝗃 for Slater also looked so much better than MF. So
yeah, I think the pushing the AD carries down to sort of the tier 2 showed gave Slater quite the advantage over 𝘁𝗀. He looked better on the tier 2s than 𝘁𝗀 did, but 𝘁𝗀 did look better on the tier 1s.
Yeah.
So that could just be a Aphelios versus MF.
I think that might have been part of it.
Which, yeah.
I think so. The other big thing, of course, looking at Flash as they're the finalist, is they brought Stark in. Hasn't played a game. All split. Brought him in. So we've heard different reasons as to why. Some people have said that apparently Yoshino isn't adapting very well to playing at home. He doesn't do well in the scrim environment. Other people are saying, and this is the one I sort of lead into, is that Stark is just a very strong voice on comms, which Flash value. I still don't like it. I think they look better with Yoshino. I think Yoshino's a much better top laner. I think unless the issues are pretty severe, Yoshino should be playing.
Yeah.
Stark played all 4 games, right?
Yeah, all 4 games, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just to point out, should Stark play all of these finals, this will once again be a playoff series that Yoshino gets 0 games in. Because Yoshino, of course,
frustrating for
is
him.
A defending title holder. He won.
And
he was on the GARM tent that.
He gets to play the bench matchup from both sides.
Exactly. He is so familiar with the bench role. Maybe they want to keep him off the Rift because he doesn't know how to play playoffs, apparently.
Yeah. He was our voted #1 top laner, right? Most people voted for him to be the best top laner of the split. I thought he was the second best.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, one of the best, for sure. I can kind of see why Flash wants to go for Stark. I think he's, as you said before, a little bit of a veteran voice, calming down maybe the comps, maybe giving them a little bit better of a mid game and fight setups. But what confused me a lot this series is the champs that Stark actually went for, because he didn't go for tanks or anything. He went for lane bully champs, which kind of strikes me as a very strange choice. Because you have a way better laner on the bench, and if you want to go for Renekton set and the likes, why not go with a better laner and try to play through top lane? It's one of your biggest strengths compared to EVOS. So
yeah, it seemed very disjointed. It seemed disjointed. Yeah. And you know, someone in chat saying apparently there was drama. I don't really want to speculate on that front, just because we have no way of knowing. And I'd hate to say, oh, there was drama, and then it turns out that's complete nonsense. If you're right, well, fair, that's like super interesting, but I don't want to speculate that way.
Yeah.
If we take it from an analytical point of view, I mean, Flash has had issues where it looks like they've been a little bit lost. I'm thinking of that team, that game.
Fights,
the mid-game fights have been pretty atrocious. So maybe bringing a veteran in that's got a strong voice and can say, like, shut up, this is how we're playing this out, is good. But Yoshino is not who I would sacrifice for that. Obviously, Stark's top laner, so if you want to bring Stark in, you have to sacrifice Yoshino. But Yoshino's one of your best players.
Yeah, it's strange.
I definitely understand bringing Stark in if, like, you know, you go down, you drop a couple games, or you drop a game and you want to just try that. But or maybe they're going to do the reverse. They're going to put Stark in, see if he can hold his own, and if he can't, then you put in Yoshino. Maybe you swap, maybe you do a double top laner thing like Gum did last year, and have Stark playing the facilitator mid and Yoshino the carry.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, a lot of teams globally complain right now about top lane not being the strongest role and not being able to play through top lane. So maybe Flash had the same read, and
you're about to play against 𝘀cie.
Yeah. Maybe Flash said, okay, we have the stronger top laner in terms of laning in Yoshino, but we don't actually think we can win through top lane. So let's put in Stark, who is a little bit worse laning, but is still okay in team fights and can bring veteran knowledge and a veteran voice to the team fights. Then I can kind of understand the move. I just feel bad for Yoshino. Even if it makes sense for Flash, I just feel so bad for Yoshino because he had a very good split, and now he has to sit on the bench. I just hope we get to see him tomorrow.
Yeah, it feels so bad seeing.
Yeah, that's my big
seeing like last minute. It feels so bad seeing last minute sort of substitutions. It's like 𝘀cie at Worlds last year. They played the whole summer split with Apex. He didn't see a single game at Worlds, and it was like, what?
Yeah, that always sucks. Like, and I mean, 𝘀cie kind of has that same story, right? You have 𝘀cie.
Well, at least they played Zeros in the actual split.
Yeah, but I think it's unfair every single time 𝘀cie hits the bench.
I agree.
I think 𝘀cie deserves to start literally every game because he's better than Zeros at the moment. Obviously, Zeros has a very high peak, but he hasn't hit that yet. So, it's an unfortunate time to be a top VCS top laner, apparently, because you're not being appreciated. It's not very nice.
Yeah, unless your name is Honey, then you're being very appreciated.
Then you're perhaps being overappreciated.
Hello, we're talking about top laners.
Yeah, harsh. We've only just managed to patch up our relationship with our Discord server. Please don't go blowing that hole open again.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, you can do it because you're just PCS fan anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Do we think that Flash will learn from this series that they want to play Galio mid lane, 𝘁cie bot lane again for the finals? Or do you think they go back to meta drafts at least for the first two games? Do you think they found their identity yet now? Or do you think they want to at least try something else?
I don't think you open with that.
I don't think you open with it.
I think
I
think you use it as a sort of safety net.
Fallback.
Like maybe game 2. Like if you lose game 1, you use it game 2. I don't think you use it. I don't think you try to use it when you're 2 games down. But
I'm with you with that.
Yeah, I think you definitely try and either you use it early, maybe sneak a win, and then it's banned the rest of the series, or you use it to claw your way back in. Yeah. So, and I think the second way is better. Of course, might mean nothing, and Gallios just hits the bench.
I mean, 10.7 Galio is actually pretty strong. That was the other factor. It's like it seemed weird, but Galio is actually just pretty strong on the pad.
He might just be high priority tomorrow, honestly, because Diawan has played him as well, and they won games on Galio mid lane as well. So he might just be like first round ban or first pick every single game. So that's an interesting change. I don't think Galio has actually played a lot in other regions. So very specific draft priority for our final.
Yeah, the VCS does that a lot. And speaking of drafts, you guys are ready? Anything you want to touch on? We were going to throw.
We can do that now.
We were going to throw the 2 analysts on our panel, Yulwei and Vinnie, into the roles of the coaches of 𝘀cie and Flash. Vinnie representing the biggest brain in the VCS, 𝘁, whose IQ is so high that it's actually overflowed and gone all the way back around to terrible drafts. And Yulwei playing the role of whoever 𝘀cie decides to bring, because they've brought about 5 different drafting coaches this split. A bit crazy.
Doesn't really matter for them.
It really doesn't. But we are going to do a bit of a mock draft. So have you guys got the pro draft link going?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so
I think I've got the right one.
Hopefully. So if we can go over, we have 𝘀cie on the blue side with Yulwei drafting, and Flash on the red with Vinnie. So go ahead, guys. Do your draft. What are we thinking? And
alrighty.
Say your thoughts out loud.
Yeah. So for 𝘀cie, We're first pick, but I think I'll still go with the Galio ban here. Probably as the first ban, because even though we can play Galio, I think we want to probably ban it here.
Okay. And I don't think I have to explain this one too much.
I don't know. That's a very off-the-wall draft. It's a Felius. That makes sense.
Don't want to give Blazers too much comfort.
Yeah, I think it's by far Blazers' best champion, so that makes a lot of sense. I will go to Thresh ban, because I think we had an outstanding series for CBL on the Thresh, so I don't want to risk playing against Thresh. I actually think banning Thresh is better against CBL than banning Blitzcrank, because Blitzcrank doesn't really offer as much in terms of safety, in terms of late game, just late game. So yeah, I think Thresh is the better ban here.
I'm leaning towards Syndra because it's a strong flex pick. Both Blazers and Dia have shown great performances on it. Dia's always seems to be able to find assassinations he really shouldn't on the pick, so
he's also just
remove that
insane.
Auto win button.
Yeah, Dia 1 is just insane on the pick.
Yeah. And I think my third ban will be a flex ban, basically, support and mid lane, Nautilus. I think it's very important to ban out the two utility mid laners against DR1, so that DR1 can have a very easy exploitable mid lane matchup. So
that's round out the first bit of bans. Where are you going to go, Vinny? It's hard. There's a lot of things you'd love to ban.
There are a lot of things to ban. I'm gonna go. We'll just take this off the table since we're on red side.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, it's a red side ban. I wouldn't want to give Kiaya set.
I will insta pick.
Snap
pick D1
I knew there was
champion.
something I was forgetting. I knew there was something.
There it is.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's DR1 for me. It's still flex pick, of course. Kiaya is, I think Kiaya is played Pantheon top lane as well.
It's a 3-roll split flex pick too.
We're gonna go quickly for a nice misfortune. Gonna grab misfortune because I need a little bit extra time to think.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it's a nice safe AD carry pick.
Valid.
Ooh, oh no, I should have done that. Damn, I'm stupid. Oh well. Seeing my mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're just you're
You're
representing 𝘁. You're just in character. It's good RP.
I'm gonna grab a good early jungle pick in the Gragas. Nice.
Next round is not the easiest. I think I'll go. I think I want to have top lane in second rotation to have a little bit of counter available. So I think I'll take support and jungle in this rotation probably. So Talia still flexible between mid and jungle. And then for support, I could either go Braum or Yuumi here. I'm not sure which way I want to go. I think a little bit more CC would be nice, so I think I'll go Braum. Safe lane for 𝘁cie, safe lane for Blazers as well, and a little bit of counter into MF and Gragas, so I think Braum is a good pick here.
And now I can see I've got Braum, got Talia. Reasonably.
Just while you're thinking, I like the chat suggestion of AP center jungle. Let's go.
Yeah,
that sounds reasonable to me.
There's not too much lane threat, so I can afford to go something a little bit spicier.
Are you gonna pick? Please pick Mordekaiser so that Yulwei instantly leaves.
Oh no!
Did you misclick? Is that a misclick?
I think so.
Okay, do you want to say that?
I think I ran out of time and it auto-click dash.
Oh, what did you mean? I assumed you wanted it. Were you trying to pick Yuumi?
I've got misfortune, so I was going to pick Yuumi.
Okay, we'll just say, no, it's okay.
So
we'll just
Yuumi pick for you.
We'll say it's Yuumi, so that Ashe is actually Yuumi. That's okay. That was just a limitation of the tool. So
feels bad.
You screwed up, but it's okay. The Ashe is actually Yuumi.
And
I wanted to ban Shyvana, but for some reason it didn't lock it in, so Shyvana is banned.
Okay. Well,
Shyvana's
you haven't banned anything on my side. Oh, no, yeah, you skipped. Okay,
Yeah,
so Shyvana's banned.
Yeah. So instead of Yuumi, we're going to just say...
so what's your ban?
𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀𝘀.
Okay.
And then I'll go to a Jarvan pick.
You banned Jarvan instead.
Ban.
Good job.
Yeah, no, 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗃 was the first round ban instead of
Okay.
Yuumi, because Yuumi's meant to be where Ash is.
Okay, right. And then the Jarvan's the second ban.
Olaf.
Okay, so jungle pinch.
Oh wait,
So-
you already picked Gragas. Sorry, wow.
Yeah, that's
We need
indeed.
to reset
Yeah.
that.
Do you want to start again, guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's just quickly start again because you guys are apparently just idiots.
Terrible.
Can you send the new
Wait.
links?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
the time is very short.
It's very short. It's actually really short.
Did you set it to tournament draft? It should work, right?
Oh,
It
that's
should be
true.
the normal time.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we are
Time.
not good at thinking fast.
No, apparently not. You need to hurry up.
We can lock in the first round very quickly. So
Yeah, we'll do it up to the.
Well, I
first
know
round.
you can start again if you want.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
You don't have to do same draft.
Sorry,
Just send me the new link.
Sorry. This is the Vinnie's link, and this should be
These guys, what am I dealing with here?
your link.
Is this my link, the second one?
The second one, the shorter one. See your link. Yeah. Okay,
You
so
asked
we
for
had
this, mate.
I did. My name is half the podcast, but I don't have a cool background where my face is the sun. So. Anyway, so let's start again, guys. I believe in you. Did Vinny get a link?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Let's go.
All right.
Try again.
let's just do the first round very quickly.
Oh,
we did
that's
that
an Aurelian
earlier.
Soul. Good job. Oh, thank God you didn't lock it.
I clicked the wrong button.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
God, what did I pick next?
What was my first third
That's
ban?
right. I'm
Thresh.
trying to remember
Thresh.
what my third ban
Thresh,
was.
right.
Set. And then,
Yes.
Pantheon was my first pick.
yeah, so then it was Pantheon and
It's Fortune and
Gragas.
Gragas.
So, okay, this didn't take too long. So
There you
now
go.
this looks better. Nice. Okay, Yuumi MF. I like your picks as well. I think we both are looking at nice composition. Still not quite sure. So I could ban some top laners. Who's starting, by the way? Is it Stark or is it
okay.
Yoshino?
Oh, I'm
Is it
just gonna
Stark or
say
Yoshino?
Yoshino.
All right.
I'm gonna say Yoshino.
Okay. You didn't
Okay.
ban anything? Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Vinny, what did you mean to ban?
What? No,
You didn't ban.
Oh fuck! I thought he was banning
Dead shit.
for some reason.
What did you mean
Um,
to ban?
We'll say Cassio.
Okay.
Oh, makes sense. Makes sense.
So Cassio's
Makes sense.
banned. The Fiora banned.
Cassio's banned.
Respect to Yoshino. I like it.
Yeah. I don't
And
want the counter pick
We'll
here.
take another, and we'll knock off Lucian as well. So that way, I'm trying to force the Talia more towards the mid lane
Oh, the mid lane, yeah.
position.
So I don't want to play against Renekton, even though I don't like the champ, but it's still annoying. So
Okay.
there we go.
I need something that can really just match up into the Pantheon, no matter what.
And not-
Good luck finding
Yeah,
that.
good luck. It's day
Good luck
one's
finding
Pantheon. Does it
We're
exist?
just gonna say, gonna go something nice and simple. We're gonna play 𝘁cie.
Okay.
I can see Cardi playing Corky.
This also
so
saves my last pick.
Top and
potential.
ADC. Where do I want to go with ADCs?
No, I'm stupid. I know what I should have picked. Oh,
Uh,
I forgot that champion existed. Actually,
Mordekaiser is here, Yulwei.
I think
Good
I'll just go Xayah for ADCs. Safe lane should be fine into MF. So Xayah Braum just doesn't really do anything, but should be fine skating into mid game. And then for top lane, they had you have two ADCs, so I think I'll go with more engage in the top lane and 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀𝘀. There we go.
The Kled?
The
The
Kled.
Kled.
10 out of 10.
Well, with that, I think I'm looking to maybe disengage a bit. I have a good mixed damage profile. I can afford to put in a tank.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
The Vinnie special.
So can we actually put the champs in the positions they belong, or no? I don't think so. Right?
No, we
Don't
cannot.
think so.
So for me, this is Pantheon mid lane and 𝗀cie jungle, right? So Kled top lane, 𝗀cie jungle, Pantheon mid lane, 𝘂cia Braum.
Yep. Okay.
Meanwhile, Poppy, Gragas, 𝘁cie, MF, and Yuumi.
Oops.
Mm-hmm. You have a lot of scaling, a lot of damage. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I like mine. It's got a decent early game potential through Poppy and MF, and MF 𝘁cie both scale well into late game.
Yep.
Yuumi does the same. Gragas is just all round a really good jungler.
Yeah, I think my
Poppy
mid
can
jungler
hopefully
will
deny Pantheon with the Pantheon's W. Is it his W? His stun.
Poppy's W. Oh, the Pantheon W,
No,
right?
Poppy can Poppy can W Pantheon.
Yeah.
I think my comp has very good potential, the diving bot lane, especially against MF Yuumi. I think we have a very easy time tanking the turret with Pantheon Braum, and Pantheon 𝘂cia 𝗀𝗃 should have enough damage to get the double kill there as well. Top lane, Kled should be fine into Poppy. I don't think we can dive Poppy too easily with Pantheon, so top lane is probably just a farm fest.
No, you have pretty much no hope of diving the Poppy. She presses W and everything stops.
I think we want an early gank for Pantheon 𝗀𝗃 on 𝘁cie to force his flash to have Pantheon do whatever he wants in the lane. And then very strong mid-game engage comp on my side, I think. You definitely outscale, but I think DR1 will just stomp mid lane hard enough to win this game.
I think my main strategy would be try and set up vertical jungling with Gragas hovering bot side to defend the MF Yuumi lane as they push in. Poppy,
makes a lot of sense.
As we said, should be fine. And 𝘁cie gets to scale up, maybe try and push around Pantheon best he can pre-6, and hope for the best.
Fair enough. It's hard to say who won draft. I'd say if you turn nameplates off, I actually really like Vinnie's. But DR1 Pantheon.
Forgetting about Pantheon in the first round really threw me off.
Is very scary, but we'll flick back to us. Welcome back, friends. And no chat, this is not playoffs. They don't actually use pro draft in real games.
They might.
Crazy, I know. I mean, with the way that the servers are at the moment, maybe they do. Maybe they just sim everything. So that was a bit of fun, of course. But let's kind of zoom back out and talk about important picks and where we think both teams are going to play through. So let's start with 𝘀cie. Now, we asked the question, how does 𝘀cie win this series? Let's not go through every answer, because we've only got so much time. I'm quite tired because I'm sick. So I don't want to be here for 3 hours while you tell me every single way that 𝘀cie could win. So just break it down to your top 3. How does 𝘀cie play out games to win against Flash? We'll start with you, Yulwei. Or you can start, Vinnie, if you want.
They smash them in lane and snowball. That's why. Probably through mid lane, being the case. If Stark's in, they can also do the same thing in top lane. Mostly it's just running over the opponents. That seems to be how 𝘀cie gets most of its wins.
Mm-hmm.
And when it does seem to be losing, it's DR1 just randomly getting a influx of gold out of nowhere, just outplaying someone, which
happens often.
I think some competitive ruling should be made because that's not allowed.
Yeah,
this is a professional league.
So for me, I actually think 𝘀𝗀 wins like 80% of games if they're even in mid-game against Flash. So the highest percentage play would just be secure strong lanes that can't be ganked too easily, and have 𝘬𝑚𝑖 on a champion that can track the enemy jungler. Because I think if 𝗀_nciN is under control, 𝘀𝗀 just wins the game in mid-game. They have way better coordination when it comes to team fights. They have way better mid-game setups with 𝘁𝗏, not 𝗀_nciN, 𝘁𝗏, 𝘬𝑚𝑖, and DR1 grouping up, invading enemy jungle. As I said, DR1 gets random solo kills from time to time, so he's almost always in a very strong position. So for me, the key parts for 𝘀𝗀 to approach this series is try to eliminate volatility in the early game, especially bot lane. So try to force Slater on something, and CBL especially, where they can't snowball through bot lane. Control 𝗀_nciN, and then once you enter mid game, I think 𝘀𝗀 wins almost all the games against Flash. So just try to eliminate volatility. You don't really have to go for a win lane, win game, because I think 𝘀𝗀 is just the better team in mid and late game. So that would be my approach.
I don't know if I 100% agree. I think they are the better team, but sorry to cut you off, Vinny. I think 𝘀𝗀 is the better team in the mid and the late game, but I feel like they're also the team that is more likely to make just an absolute clanger of a decision and just throw. Like, that's literally how they lost the first series against Flash. 𝘬𝑚𝑖 just did some stupid shit like 3 times. And they lost.
Yeah, but Flash does that a lot as well.
They mostly do it in Champ Select.
Admittedly, when I was doing review, I was looking at a lot of from how does Flash win rather than how does 𝘀𝗀 win. I just sort of assumed that was the default.
Yeah, I think that's true. So
and just watching their most recent matchup, the one 𝘀𝗀 won. A lot of it was just which jungler performed better. DR1 still did DR1 things, but when 𝘬𝑚𝑖 was having a off game, Flash was able to control the early game and just roll on, and mostly roll on. Whereas if 𝗀_nciN was shut down, it was the same thing from
indeed
roll on through. And so jungle is probably the most important matchup in this.
But I think it's way easier for 𝘀𝗀 to win jungle, not because 𝘬𝑚𝑖 is much better than 𝗀_nciN, but because 𝗀_nciN has to make something happen in the early game, while 𝘬𝑚𝑖 can just control 𝗀_nciN.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So think back to the very first game, the first game of the second series, where Flash actually had the early game lead, and then overforced in the mid game, and 𝘀𝗀 just punished them. 𝘀𝗀 didn't actually do anything for 15 minutes. They just laned. Then DR1 got a random solo kill, 𝗀_nciN overstayed, and suddenly the game's just over because the 𝘀𝗀 is just better in the mid game. So I think it's way harder for Flash to win games. They need to have a very strong bot lane and jungle performance because those are the only areas where they can attack. Mid lane will never be in their favor with DR1 performing like he did in most of the regular season. So I think the onus is on Flash to make something happen in the early game, because if they don't, then they can't win. In my opinion, they can't really win against 𝘀𝗀. Of course, 𝘀𝗀 can throw one game or something, but not 3.
So let's transition it then to how does Flash get that done? And I agree. I think it's very easy to outline a situation where Flash wins one game. That can happen. But 3?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a best of 5. Yeah. How does Flash win 3 games against this 𝘀𝗀 team?
Draft, probably.
I mean, that's a good start.
𝗀_nciN's Nidalee is a trap pick.
It is.
He's obviously super comfortable on the pick, and he looks fine in the early game. He gets his family, he does all that.
Mr. Robot? Is Vinny robotic for you?
Robo Vinny.
Oh, we've got Robo Vinny.
Are we good?
Talk?
Oh, I am.
No? Are you still coming to assassinate John Connor?
You both turned to robots on my end, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Oh,
can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound fine.
I can hear everyone fine.
Okay. Vinny sounds fine to me now. So
okay, go ahead, Vinny. Sorry.
Yeah,
cool.
Let's go.
Brilliant. 𝗀𝗀, he gets his family, does all that, and then he just does nothing. It's a trap pick.
I agree.
It's meant to be fully early game pressure, but he doesn't actually. But it's like he locks it in. It's like, cool, we have early game pressure. He doesn't actually put out that pressure. He's just like, yep, we have it now. We're done.
Also, Nidalee is a very topside focused pick from what I've seen in VCS. Almost all the successful Nidalees get multiple kills through top lane. I don't think that's ever the approach you want to take against 𝘀. I think 𝘁cie is almost always ungankable, so don't think that's the correct champion to attack 𝘀 with. For me, I like two of the most important things for Flash winning games against 𝘀 is first, force DR1 on a champion that is trapped in mid lane. So something like Syndra, something like Orianna maybe, where he will still perform great on these champions, but he at least does not influence the whole map. So I think once you get him off picks like Pantheon, Galio, maybe even Tristana or Lucian, where he can just win the whole game, not only mid lane, then you're kind of lost. So force him on stuff like 𝘁cie𝗶𝗃, force him on Syndra, and try not to overforce into him, just try to handshake mid lane. And then another very important thing is, it ties back to what I said about 𝘀's approach to winning this game and controlling Yijin. Yijin needs to find jungle champs and new paths that 𝘀 can't predict. So some weird level 2 gank or some special pathing that leads to coming from behind to bot lane to accelerate through ways 𝘀 can't predict. I think that's very important for Yijin, and he needs to make that happen.
Kindred?
Yeah, something with interesting gank paths. Maybe just an interesting pick. Maybe we throw in a crazy set jungle or something that they don't expect coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gonna say it again. Kindred time? Kindred has crazy gank paths. Being able to hop over walls constantly.
Kindred's bad.
Kindred is not bad. She has a really
Kindred
high
relies
win
way
rate.
too much on RNG.
I think Kindred is a very good counter pick for jungle.
Kindred has one major instance of RNG, which is her first coin.
I disagree. I do not like Kindred in competitive.
I actually think Kindred is not a great pick into 𝘀, because 𝘁𝑚 does not play the jungle as Kindred is good into. I think Kindred was a very strong champ in semifinals, and I expected 𝘁 to pick her up against Yijin's champion pool, because she's great into Olaf, she's great into Trundle. But against AP junglers, Kindred is not that great. I mean, she can still kind of win jungle, but
𝘁𝑚 hasn't been playing that many AP. Been playing like a lot of Lee Sin.
I mean, Lee Sin is not the greatest matchup for Kindred either, right?
I don't think Kindred is. I think Kindred's only really good if your laners or your junglers specifically is much better than the opponent, and that's not the case. So
I think Yijin is pretty firmly better than 𝘁𝑚 at the moment.
Oh yeah, but I
probably
think
not by enough.
You can't. Not by enough to offset DR1.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Not enough.
Yeah, I think if anything, it's actually a good pick for 𝘁𝑚 here to just say, okay, Yijin, you'll get a few kills in the early game, but I'll scale on Kindred, and then we just out teamfight you because we have Lamb's Respite and stuff. So I think it might actually be a good pick if 𝘁𝑚 wants to go to Kindred to counter something like Olaf, and Yijin will probably go for Olaf. It's his most played and a very successful champion. So if anything, I expect Kindred on the side of 𝘀 more than on Flash's side.
So I think that means we're not getting any Kindred, because I don't see 𝘁𝑚 picking it. So, I mean, I think what we're sort of boiling it down to here is Flash needs to both weather the storm of 𝘀 in the early game, but also win before the mid-late game.
Yeah, I think they would need to win early game.
Which is so difficult. How do you beat 𝘀 in the early game? Because you can't do it mid lane. DR1's too good. You're never ever doing it.
You need to go through bot lane. That's the only way they can really blow open this game.
Is there not a problem with that being so absurdly obvious?
Yeah, it is. It's a big problem.
That seems like a massive issue.
It is. I mean, we're discounting top lane, but
you can't
go through it. It's just harder.
𝘁𝗏 is so good at playing weak.
Yeah, he's still rocking the top lane. He's not going down.
Yeah, I mean, any rock can be broken if you bring a big enough hammer.
I guess.
So.
Yeah, I guess if we're bringing bloody Thor's hammer. But at this point, I don't think he's a rock. He's bloody Gibraltar.
No, like if you've got Yoshino up there, you can, and you play properly, and maybe Levi's having one of his int moments, you can go through top. It's not as easy. It's definitely not as easy, but it's not out of the question.
Yes.
If you draft for it, if you play it well, you can do it. Mid lane, not going to happen. Top lane can happen. Top lane's the easiest.
I actually think
it's very hard.
I actually think it's easier to go through mid lane. I think you're more likely to catch Dia purely because mid lane champions are squishier.
Are easier to kill.
Yeah. And again, chat, this isn't playoffs. This is a podcast. Playoffs are tomorrow.
Finals is tomorrow.
If you're waiting for the game, I mean, you can chill. You can chill and wait for the games with us, but it's gonna be like 16 hours. We're not going to be here the whole time.
Of snoring.
Yeah, like we can turn this into a sleep podcast. I'll put the microphone up to my mouth. I snore pretty bad.
It's like having a sleepover, but with social distancing.
It's like having a sleepover, but we're adults, so we actually sleep. But anyway, back on topic. I think so. I think I do agree with you, Vinny. We're being a bit hyperbolic, saying that you can't play through any other lane, but I think in a realistic way, it has to be bot lane. And I think the problem with that is that it's super obvious, and if Gum has to put Blazers on something super defensive and play defensive, does Gum care? Oh no, we're 15 CS behind in bot lane. Oh no, but we're 3 kills up on the rest of the map because Tier 1 is Tier 1.
We're a few CS behind in bot lane, and they're pushing into the tower. That means there's more lane to get behind them for the inevitable 5-man dive.
Yeah, indeed.
Exactly. It's rough. Really.
Also wanted to
Flash can win. Go ahead.
So I wanted to talk about 𝘁cie a little bit more because there's very little evidence pointing towards him being exploitable. I think there hasn't been a single game where he just hard fed. And the games where Gum lost through top lane were all with Zeros in, especially game 2 against Flash, where Zeros hard inted on Aatrox.
Yeah,
so.
There was one. But
on
that
Soraka.
was the Soraka game.
Yeah, okay. If you want to count the Soraka game, fair enough. We're on 10-7, so we will not see top lane Soraka.
We will not see
on
Soraka.
10-8 probably, but not on 10-7.
Oh.
So
good thing we're not having any competitive play on 10-8. So I can just ignore that League of Legends exists while that's a thing.
Honestly.
I think it's very hard to exploit 𝘁cie, especially if Dia 1 also has a roaming champ to help him out. Think back to the dive on 𝘁cie for Team Secret, where they try to dive his Kled.
Oh no!
Yeah, but that
won our award. Just for the record, we didn't get to do our award show because of tech issues, which have continued apparently. That won our award for worst play of the season, and I think it was pretty obvious. That was shockingly bad.
Yeah, diving Kled never works.
Especially if you miss every single skill shot.
Yeah,
well.
Especially if you forget how Kled works.
Into him afterwards. Not the greatest play ever, for sure. So yeah, I think it's definitely a very lopsided series to look at it from win conditions. I think we can talk a little bit about Slater, and Slater is one of the most important players in this series, and he's in back-to-back finals now. Can he do anything to this time around win?
Sure, if Gammons draft.
Yeah.
I
mean, I think he's going to
be. Solid games of Aphelios, he could probably win.
I think he's going to be the better ADC, but
it's not going to matter.
But does that matter? He's just going to die. I don't think there's any ADC in the meta currently that can deal with what Dia 1 and 𝘁cie are going to bring. He'll beat Blazers. I think I'm pretty confident. He might even smash Blazers. But
maybe you look into Xayah priority just for the extra defense against the dives.
I mean, he has had a pentakill on 𝘂cia, so he definitely is a good 𝘂cia player. I think they want to go to 𝘁cie, though. I think 𝘁cie will be the main ADC tomorrow for 𝘀𝑠ℎ. I think in most games she will be too far behind to really impact the game too much. Maybe one game where he pops off. I'm kind of debating between 3-1 and 3-0 for 𝘀𝑠ℎ, for 𝘀𝗀, of course. So
yeah. I think it's gonna be 3-0. It's too big a hurdle.
I mean, in the prediction game that we have, I've predicted 3-2 for 𝘀𝑠ℎ. But that's because I can't win the prediction game, so I'm going with my heart. I honestly, I think the correct analysis is a 3-0, because I actually don't see 𝘀𝑠ℎ having a strong enough win condition, but I think realistically it will be a 3-1, because I think 𝘀𝗀 will just screw up once.
I think there will be one game, maybe the first game, where Yi-Jin finds very good early game ganks on bot lane, and 𝘁𝗏 is too far ahead for 𝘀𝗀 to fight against him. I think one game is definitely foreseeable, I guess.
Yeah. I think one game is, like, it can definitely happen. Oh, hello, Rakan. Jesus, you came in hot. Me. Jesus. I think, one game can be one off a team fight throw, something silly. But more than one game, I just don't know how they do it. I think 𝘀𝗀 has to lose 3 games more than 𝘀𝑠ℎ can win 3 games.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look at their stats for the whole season. They had 27-5 in games. They've only lost 5 games, and one was Soraka, one was against FTV, which was pretty troll. One was against Team Secret, which was super troll in terms of drafting. They drafted Graves jungle and no engage whatsoever and just didn't do anything. So 3 of the 5 games they lost were basically draft ins. So that leaves us with 2 game losses.
Yeah.
One of them was Zeros.
One was Zeros inting top lane, so you can kind of eliminate that as well. And the only
when we
real
say
game
inting,
loss was the
when
hard
we say
throw.
inting, we mean it. He went 0-6 in lane.
Yeah. So there's not a single game the whole season where 𝘀𝗀 lost a straight up game. You could actually make a case for not a single game where they lost straight up. They threw, I think the closest is first series against 𝘀𝑠ℎ game 3, where they were very far ahead and then threw at Baron. But even that is the throw. So
I think the way to phrase it, I would honestly say the way to phrase it is there was not a single game this split that a team won against 𝘀𝗀. 𝘀𝗀 lost some games, but did anyone actually beat 𝘀𝗀 at 𝘀𝗀's own game? No. Every time 𝘀𝗀 played every time 𝘀𝗀 played like 𝘀𝗀, they won.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. And
I think
it is almost impossible to see 𝘀𝑠ℎ doing that 3 times.
It's very hard to see. I mean, maybe DR1 has his worst day ever. Maybe he's super nervous for his first final appearance, but then you also have to factor in 𝘁𝗏's a rookie as well. So as well, DR1 is not a rookie, but it's his first final, and it's also 𝘁𝗏's first final. So who knows? Maybe 𝘁𝗏 completely shits the bed. It's possible as well.
And I mean, even if we're talking in these very outside realms of finals pressure, maybe someone shits the bed. They're not even on stage. They're at home.
That's true.
Like, okay, it's a final. There'll be some heightened nerves, but you're not on stage. Like, nothing really going on. I'm not sure how 𝘀𝑠ℎ does this one. But I hope they do. It would be great if 𝘀𝑠ℎ won. Just because I want someone else to win.
Yeah. New blood.
Yeah.
New blood would be nice.
And I think
𝘀𝗀 definitely deserves the title, but I would like to see a very close final. Maybe 𝘀𝗀. I think if the first game goes over to 𝘀𝑠ℎ, we might see a very cool series. I think if the first game is a blowout victory for 𝘀𝗀, then we might just head to a very quick 3-0. But yeah, I think the first game tomorrow will decide a lot about the series. If 𝘀𝑠ℎ comes in prepared and has some cool counter strategies, some cool jungle pathings that 𝘀𝗀 can't anticipate, then we might be in for a very, very cool series, and maybe a 3-2 or a 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, we could get caught off guard. I think we were saying similar things about the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And EVOS came in and blew us away. And even though that one it was very close in the end, EVOS did win it. And we didn't expect that to go to 5. So there's definitely... I'm not writing Flash off. But I think the only correct analysis is that Flash is going to really struggle.
Yeah. So maybe looking ahead a little bit, do you think there's anything VCS teams can do to attack GAM in the future?
Well, I mean, I don't know the situation. I don't know much about Vietnam, but I imagine, because in most places, if you go on certain parts of the internet, you can hire people to kill people for you. So if they got someone if they got someone to shoot DR1, then GAM is touchable next split. If DR1's dead,
I was gonna go with a similar outside of game method, but not kill the guy. Kill them.
For the record, I don't advocate violence. Don't kill DR1. He seems like a nice guy.
Fight them with your wallet and just buy the players off of them.
I mean, that's actually something. That's not
if Flash had
unreasonable.
DR1.
I mean, I think
that'd be amazing. An amazing team. But
funnily enough,
yeah,
the people I'm most interested in the off season is Secret, because Secret's got money now. Well, it's not Secret has money now. They're not 𝘀cie anymore, so they actually have money.
Has money now.
The team.
That roster, like, I can understand them not wanting to make any big roster change because they came in halfway through a split. Also, the Team Secret roster wasn't terrible, but I can definitely see worlds where, you know, if Yoshino doesn't get played tomorrow, and Team Secret came up to him and said, hey, we'll pay you your salary plus some extra and you come play for us, and we'll actually play you in playoffs. And then Team Secret has a top laner. Suddenly, there's 2 teams in this region.
Well, think about Zeros. What will he do after this split?
It's very... We don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard some rumors that he's not willing to go to China anymore. So also very bad time, of course, to move right now with coronavirus still being a thing.
Yeah.
So he might be stuck in Vietnam for another split or even another year. So will he go to a different team? Will GAM actually say, okay,
I don't think there is
𝘀cie, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah, I would think that second option is much more like... I don't think Zeros leaves GAM for $20 million. I don't think they let him, and I don't think he goes, because I'm pretty sure Tinnikin is actually his father, and they're just hiding him. Because that team loves Zeros a lot.
I mean, think back to last season where they actually had an ADC that was Zeros' brother, because they loved Zeros this much.
Yeah,
so
they wanted...
there is a big connection between
I mean,
GAM and Zeros.
eventually Zeros was going to have a kid, and he'll turn 1, and his first birthday present will be a contract from GAM, and he'll be GAM ones.
Yeah, probably.
I think 𝘀cie... If 𝘀cie goes somewhere else... I mean, again... We're talking about top laners, so I'm thinking Team Secret. But 𝘀cie added to any other team is a massive upgrade.
Yeah, especially if he continues to perform like he did this split.
The other contender, like EVOS, 𝘀cie is a solid upgrade over both Hero and But1.
Oh,
that's true.
Hero was very solid in playoffs, but throughout the split, he was kind of hit and miss. So if you put 𝘀cie in there...
Yeah, that's very true.
Definitely an upgrade over either of those.
It looks a lot like Flash does now, but...
Yeah, I think they need to look for a better mid laner. But...
Sort of mediocre mid laner, but good enough.
I mean...
you know...
there's another...
Or we see 𝘀cie return to mid lane.
It's also possible. I think there's another factor to look at, and... maybe we're starting to sound like a Team Secret podcast, but I promise we're not. Is now that Team Secret is Team Secret, we've spoken to them and they're bringing in a lot of extra resources to the region that perhaps other orgs don't necessarily have access to. Is there the possibility that once they've had a break to reform how everything works, Team Secret just plays better. They just have better macro, and the player gap doesn't mean as much because 𝘀𝗰 still has better players than Team Secret. There's no question about that. But if they're suddenly playing like a European team in terms of their macro, you can beat 𝘀𝗰 just based off that.
Yeah, if you bring in a if you can bring in a coach that can whip them into shape and teach them great macro and all that, and get a good in-game leader even. Yeah, you can easily just outpace. You can outpace them, and if your players can hold up to 𝘀𝗰, which the current Secret roster can,
they took it really close to 𝘀𝗰.
There's no reason why they can't out macro them.
I think 𝘀𝗰 actually has a decent macro, so I'm not sure if that is enough for Secret to win against 𝘀𝗰. I think it might be enough to get second place and contest 𝘀𝗰. I'd still favor 𝘀𝗰 just because of player skill, especially if there's no upgrade for top lane. I mean, 𝘀𝗀 has had a great split, but he's still nowhere close to 𝘁𝗏 or
He's had a great split for 𝘀𝗀.
Yeah, indeed. So, yeah, I can see Secret being a very strong team and being the second Worlds team again, even though like player-wise, I actually would like to see EVOS because I think EVOS is super explosive and fun to watch. But yeah, I'm not sure if they can contest with 𝘀𝗰 just because in the end, in the VCS, team fights will always be the thing that decides the games. And can anyone beat 𝘀𝗰 in team fighting in this roster? I don't know.
I mean, if you can properly teach your team to split push in this, you could probably completely throw 𝘀𝗰 for a loop because they don't know how sidelines work.
I'm not sure about that.
I mean, I do think if no player changes happen, I don't think 𝘀𝗰 gets unseated. But I think
I agree.
With a couple of changes, I don't think you have to tear down this 𝘀𝗰 roster to take them off the throne. I think 1 or 2 changes happen. They lose 𝘁𝗏, or I mean, if they lose 𝑑1, I don't think they ever would. But if they did, I suddenly think they're very much mortal.
Yeah.
If they don't have that mid lane. If they bring 𝘂𝗏 back and 𝘁𝗏 explores his options, they're still probably the best team, but at least there's a possibility for another team to be their kryptonite. But at the moment, it's a worrying time because I like 𝘀𝗰. They seem like really cool, and I like the org, but it's not fun when a region has one org.
Yeah, it's true. Well, yeah, I think we can still get excited and about 𝘀𝗰 internationally. Of course, last time we didn't end up too well. But I think this 𝘀𝗰 should do a little bit better because one of the biggest failures of the other 𝘀𝗰 last year was mid lane not playing mid lane champs in international competition, and 𝘁𝑚 for some reason going to Nocturne after he didn't play Nocturne at all. So I think there's still a world where this 𝘀𝗰 can perform in Worlds or maybe even MSI. I think MSI is a little bit harder.
Sometimes I close my eyes and I see that jungle pathway leading to the Baron pit, and then I hear a Nocturne ult and a Kled ult every 45 seconds for an entire game.
Hey, they won this game. That was the only game they won.
Yeah, because they did the same thing 15 times and eventually it worked. That was the dumbest game of League of Legends I've ever seen.
Yeah. I think, with 𝑑1's firmly seeded, Vietnam needs more mid laners.
Yeah.
The current mid lane pool is so shallow.
Yeah, that's a big problem. That's true.
Particularly with
it's kind of terrible.
Null being past it. In my opinion.
With Null falling off, you have Artifact, maybe.
Artifact on form is very good. But
Artifact's good, but he's still
he's thoroughly
not like the tier below, he's like the 2 tiers below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
because of consistency. And it's just you need more mid laners, because as it is, you could only really build one roster with players that are equal in every position to what GAM currently has, because there's nothing in the mid lane to go up for it. I mean, you can sort of counter that by having a better ADC, but
that's not enough.
Mid lane is such an important role.
Yeah.
Mid lane is such an important role. It's the way the game's designed. It's just unfortunate that's how it is, that you can't have five equal roles.
Yeah, I'm still excited for 𝘁𝗀𝗋 tomorrow. I think 𝘁𝗀𝗋 has definitely surprised me with this play. And if you find champs where 𝘁𝗀𝗋 can just handshake lane against 𝘨1, I think he needs to be a little bit more calm and not try to solo kill 𝘨1 as he did in the last meeting, where they were ahead and then he tried to solo kill 𝘨1. 𝘨1 turned around to solo kill him, and suddenly the game spiraled out of control. If he eliminates those mistakes and can just farm against 𝘨1, which some people have been able to do, then
𝘨1 hit 6 and
maybe there's a chance.
You play safe. You play a champion that can either roam faster or at the very least match the roams.
Yeah.
And you have a very good... That's the best.
I'm very excited for the first draft tomorrow.
I think Rumble could be an important champion that we haven't talked about. Yeah. Because the thing that Rumble can do is, obviously he can roam, but he also can make it so that if 𝘨1 wants to roam, he always misses a wave. Because Rumble just pushes so fast.
Honestly, it's just all the 𝘀cie champs. Yeah. Just play all the 𝘀cie champs into 𝘨1 and try to just avoid mid lane. That's one of 𝘀ci's biggest strategies, right? To avoid mid lane into the better laners like Rookie, Knight, and co. So just go Rumble, just go Galio, Nautilus. Just play priority champs that can roam.
Pantheon, it's good. He can't kill you.
Yeah. I mean, 𝘨1 got solo kills on Pantheon, honestly. He got solo kills with Tristana against Pantheon, so
that shouldn't
maybe.
Yeah, but no, what you should do is start playing 𝘁𝗃, because then when he kills you, you can still do damage.
Hey. Big brain moves.
Yeah, and you can roam.
Yeah.
Can we bring back Inkling mid? He can roam the same way.
No, why not? Let's we can just think of the ultimate 𝘨1 counter. You play 𝘁𝗃 mid, 𝘁𝗄𝗄 bot. Who else does things when they die?
We need Zac, we need Nivea, we need Zilean, we need...
Yeah, old Zyra. Bring that
You
back.
have to kill the whole team twice.
Old Zyra passive has to be one of the worst passives ever.
It was so dumb.
It was super
Sion,
dumb.
yeah, Sion is a good idea.
Yeah. There we go.
Sion is honestly not the worst idea into 𝘨1's Pantheon. Just try to catch waves and scale into mid game, I guess.
Catch waves, roam with your ult.
I still think Sion is one of the funniest champions. When he ults and screams cowards and then runs away.
Yeah, it's great.
He's just out of there. But is there anything else we really want to say about this one? Might be a bit of a short podcast because we started late due to tech issues, and I'm also very sick.
Yeah, I think we'll hit a little bit more stat stuff tomorrow in the pre-show, of course. Tune in for our pre-show before the final starts. And then we have a lot of cool surprises for you tomorrow when we actually hit the final. So
hopefully so do the teams.
Yeah. I'm so excited for the first draft. I think first draft will tell us a lot about the series. Will GAM leave Nautilus, Thresh, or Galio open? I think one of the three champs could actually carry one of the first game for Flash. So yeah, first draft will be very interesting to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just hope for some close games. In the end, I don't have too much skin in the game. I think if GAM wins, well, they were clearly the best team of the split, so it is a very well-deserved win. And if Flash wins, well, damn, that's an upset. And I always love an underdog. So whoever wins tomorrow, I think I walk away happy. As long as the games are close and fun. A 3-0 stomp in either direction would be a super bad send-off to what's been a really, really good split of VCS.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, with that, unless anyone has any parting words, I think we will sign off until tomorrow.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being here, Vinny. We always appreciate you being in our content. We love having you. It means I don't have to pretend to be smart. because I struggle with that.
Means I can pretend to be smart.
Yeah, you do it. You're a good actor.
As we all do. As we all do.
Yeah, in the end, we're talking about video games. But we will, of course, be back tomorrow. Do tune in a little bit early for the pre-show. We'll have stats, all that kind of thing. We have some very cool stuff lined up. You don't want to miss it. And make sure that you're there when the games do start. We'll be live right here on the VCS English channel to bring you the finals. 𝘀𝗀 trying to defend their crown against the challengers of Flash. See you guys then, and thanks for tuning in to the EveryWei podcast.
See ya.